It may not seem like it, but Trenton used to be one of the most recognized cities globally. You don't have to go too far back to see this side of the city. Just over 100 years ago, Trenton was the home of many industries. None more prestigious than the pottery industry, specifically fine china, porcelain. Trenton is at the perfect spot for pottery to flourish. Being between New York and Philadelphia allowed the city access to so many materials. The soil here in this region is rich in clay. In the mid-1800s, many immigrants came to Trenton from the UK and Ireland, like John Maddock and Joseph McCulley. They were already masters of the craft before immigrating. However, Walter Scott Lenox would become the first porcelain manufacturer who was a Trenton native. In his youth, Lenox would watch the potters work in his free time, and this instilled his love of the art. At age 16, he would begin working as a designer in Trenton Pottery Works. I offered my services for a year free to Isaac Davis. I paid strict attention to business, created some good designs, and worked for my employer with such a will that at the end of my year, to retain my services, he offered me a large salary. This was just the beginning of his journey. Rising through the ranks, he would become the art director of the Ott and Brewer plant. In 1889, Lenox would establish the Ceramic Arts Company, which leads to the modern Lenox Incorporated. Here he would be able to create as much eggshell, Balique-styled porcelain as he wanted. However, just as he was at the peak of his journey, he would suddenly suffer from blindness and paralysis. Despite this, he didn't stop and worked just as hard as ever, with the aid of his secretary Harry Brown and his trusted staff. Even with his condition, his business would continue to grow. This gold-covered plate in the 1930s was advertised at $800. Today, that would cost over $14,000 per plate. In 1917, President Woodrow Wilson would commission Lenox a 17,000-piece dinnerware set for the White House. After this, Lenox would be commissioned by several presidents after. By 1906, Lenox would step down, and his dedicated colleagues remaining would carry on his legacy, and in 1920, Lenox would pass away at the age of 61. The story doesn't just end with Lenox. It was because of the community and the hard workers in Trenton that turned this into the success story it is today. While Trenton isn't as well known, it still means a lot to the people. Trenton has a long and extraordinary history that is waiting to be uncovered.